Welcome to episode 214 of In Touch with iOS, the show that talks about iPhone, iPad, Apple Watch, Apple TV, and related technologies. I'm your host, Dave Ginsburg, and my guest this week is Mr. Holden DePardo. It's been a long time. Glad to have you back on the show, Holden. How you doing?
It's doing well. Good to be back. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, I look back. It's been quite a few months here, so I'm glad we had to get you back on the show here. So lots of good stuff to talk about. And Jeff Gamet's back on the show here. Welcome back. How you doing, Jeff?
I'm doing well. Thanks for having me back. And Holden, I'm actually really glad to see you here.
Yeah.
Because I've never seen you and Warren in the same place at the same time.
Oh, that's right.
So that whole thing, we can finally put that to rest.
Yeah.
So the actor we hired is like, that's, it worked.
Yeah.
Totally worked. Absolutely worked.
Speaking of Warren Sklar is back on the show. How you doing, Warren?
Jeff, you would have noticed the giant Rubik Cube on my arm if it was the same person, I would have to say. So
the fact that you have a skin sleeve that you put on to cover it.
I'm going to go all out. I'll go all out.
Oh, gosh.
Anyhow.
Let's do a little show here. So we got a lot of great news stories this week. Always a little bit quiet this time of year, but I seem to always find something to chat about this week. Beta isn't too exciting this time, but the big topics are going to be this week is TV streaming services. As I've been talking about, this is the second in the series from when I spoke at Macstock. We're going to talk about the top TV streaming services, how they fare, all that. And also, we'll got some other surprises. So let's go ahead and then jump into the news for this week. First story I have here is Apple Maps now offers cycling directions across all 50 U.S. states. Apple Maps cycling directions now fully cover, actually the highlight says 50 states, but it covers 49 U.S. states as of July, as we record here. According to Apple Maps enthusiasts, he's saying the cycling directions have since
Colorado
become...
doesn't count. Sorry.
What's that?
I said Colorado doesn't really count.
Well, no.
Right.
Hawaii was the one that hadn't become. It just became the 50th, so we're all 50 still.
Annoying Jeff.
No, I'm actually looking to see if we have biking directions in Boulder.
Yeah, this is good. This is good news. I'm glad a lot of people want to have cycling directions to where to go places, and I think this is a good thing that Apple's really adapting to. So,
there we go.
Go ahead, Jeff.
Cycling directions. It's working in Boulder now.
Yeah, there you go.
I had given up. I'm sorry. I'm just totally doing my own thing over here. You're doing the show, aren't you? I'm sorry.
But it's a good thing. I think Apple has been doing this. Apple's been doing this for a while here now with cycling directions. But I'm glad to see they've expanded it to the entire U.S. now. This is a good thing. What do you think, Old?
Yeah, I mean, it's always just good to have options for it. I don't personally ride a bike because I'm afraid as a driver that I'm going to hit a bicyclist. So I don't want to be that bicyclist. So I just don't. Yeah.
I haven't ridden a bike in quite a long time, and I probably won't. Just with my ailments, it'd probably be best I be crashing quickly. I've done it in my younger days, so I think it's best not to cycle. But there's plenty of people who enjoy doing that. So
if you do, though, you won't get lost. Apple has assured that.
That is true. That is true.
What
do you think, Warren?
I'll finally be able to get home.
The article, the way you read the way you read the article makes it seems like Apple has has it across all 50 states. So, for the people who want a bicycle across all.
Oh no,
states.
It's going to each state has bicycling district. Not going. Yeah, you're right. Well, that's what it said. So,
but I'm with Holden Ashley on this one too. We could talk about it on the side, but we have a road here near my house that goes along the river, River Road, and it's narrow. And on one side is houses, and the other side is a river. And it's a very popular lane for bicyclists who really bike, with the helmets and everything like that. And we debate on our next door app all the time about it, whether that bike should be there or bike should be there, and they fight with each other because I'm all for giving bikes the right of the road, but this road's just not built for a bike. I mean, I'm sorry, find somewhere else a bike. I'm going to feel like I'm going to hit you, or I'm going to end up in the river every time a bike is on that road with me on the car. So,
yep. Okay, and then the next story, we did talk about this. week or two ago here about Apple and the first batch of Apple Arcade games were going to be removed as developer contract ends. So that kind of clears up some of the understanding. Today, which was a couple days ago as we record here, Apple removed 15 games from Apple Arcade just over 2 weeks after it listed the first batch of titles that are going to leave. I guess it's due to developer contract expirations. And now Apple has a section where it says leaving arcade soon, lists the games that will be removed. I think we looked at the list. It wasn't anything terribly exciting here, but they did add a support document that you have options that the user who had downloaded the game before it was removed, you have the ability to play the game for at least 2 weeks after, suggesting the titles will remain playable until August 16th, which is like about 2 weeks from when we record here. So, and it'll say the game is no longer available. What do you think, Jeff? I think this is something that just contracts expire.
Yeah, there you go. Contracts expired, and either Apple or the developer decided that it wasn't worth renewing the contract. So there you go. I do like that Apple does have an API in place so that developers can let users migrate their data from the Apple Arcade version of a game to an App Store version of the game if the developer chooses to do that.
Yeah, absolutely.
That is a very good touch.
Yeah, what do you think, Holden?
Yeah, I don't really care too much about this just because I look at the games and none of them appeal to me.
Well, they all seem garbage, honestly.
Yeah, I wonder who ended the contract, the developer or Apple? I'm very curious.
Yeah. Well, I think most of the games there are for people like me who are very casual gamers.
Right.
Oh, yeah. There's still fantastic casual games on there. I'll scream that Threes is the best mobile game. I'll scream from the rooftops. That game is amazing. It's in Apple Arcade. It's perfect. I highly recommend it.
Yeah.
Very casual.
What's it called?
Threes.
Okay.
It's kind of like 2048, but it came out before 2048, and it's much better than 2048. It's very good.
Yeah. What's 2048?
That's
this tells you how much of a casual
gamer. Yeah.
I
don't even know.
It was a very popular web game, but basically, like you have you have two numbers that are the same. You can combine them together to make a bigger number, and you just keep combining them to make bigger and bigger numbers. But you're moving them around this little grid, and you have to, if the grid gets filled up and you can't move anymore, you lose.
Holden.
Okay.
High score.
Cool.
What's the high score?
My high score?
My son's crazy on it.
I'm using continuity camera on my phone, so I can't check, but it's like 30,000, I think.
Yeah, I got my son hit the big one, so
yeah, but if I do it 62,000.
Yeah, I know. So yeah, I like my high score is 57,828. So
very good, nice.
I haven't played in a while, but I'm not I'm a casual gamer too, and even the arcade games don't really appeal to me for whatever reason. So I try to feel and
part of the bundle.
I think I get nervous because they take up so much room they're so good that they take a lot of space on your phone. And even if I have the room on my phone, it gets me jittery to take up that much space on my phone of a game that I might play here and there because I'm scared I'm gonna run out of space. Which I don't.
Just buy a second phone. And that's your game phone.
There you go.
Dave has.
This is what the iPad mini is for.
Yeah, Dave has a second phone for his camera.
I don't know.
Like, unlike Holden. So that's why I said last Tuesday, I'm like, the continuity camera is great, except when you want to actually use your phone.
Yeah, the moment I want to use it.
Yeah, and then you can. And Dave's like, well, I have one just for my camera.
It's a 10R. It's an old phone. So, I mean, got it for a deal. It wasn't like terribly expensive.
I know.
All right, so let's move on. Next story here. Apple pulled a record 439,000 apps in quarter two, including abandonware. Apple and Google delisted almost 600,000 apps, combining for their respective Apple stores amidst a wide crackdown by Apple on abandoned applications. There was, according to a new report from fraud protection firm Pixel8, Apple and Google delisted almost 592,000 apps from the App Store and the Google Play, respectively. And that was a major increase over the 220,000 they did in the first quarter. The main reason Apple delisted apps in the second quarter appears to be a lack of updates for years. Oh my God, there's so many apps in there. I'm like, as soon as I see an app that's like maybe a year hasn't been touched, I mean, I don't even want to download it anymore. So I'm glad they're doing this. What do you think, Jeff?
I'm glad they're doing it. I mean, when you have as many apps as as Apple does on the App Store. It's a service for users. If you're culling the stuff that's no longer supported, is out of date, won't run on current devices, or is like a scam app, get that stuff out of there.
Yeah, no, I think it's good. What do you think, Warren?
Yeah, no, it's good. I mean, the fact that they're removing it also means that they allowed it at one point, which is bad.
Right. Well, it must have been a good app at the time. So I think a lot of these developers just abandoned them.
No, but as Jeff said there in the article, they mentioned scam apps.
Well, yeah, they deemed, right? Yeah.
Yeah. So, that means if they're getting rid of them, then there are some that still get through. So Apple's vetted, walled store of apps is not a perfect system, but it's again, it's better than any other store out there. But be aware it's not the 100% that you won't get some kind of bad app if you're in that store. And this happened before. I mean, they let some through.
Yep. And Holden, what do you think?
I mean, I agree completely with everyone. Like it had to happen. I don't know if you guys have ever gone through your purchase history for like your apps. You can go through all of your apps and go to the very, very beginning and try downloading some of those. Yeah, there's so many of them. It's crazy. And then the app is designed for an iPhone 4S still. Yeah. It's like, it just feels so weird on a 13 Pro that I have now. Or in the case of some of the games I played, like the controls are just all over the place, and you literally oriented in the wrong location on the screen, and everything. And it's such a bad experience. Why would anyone want it? So it makes sense.
Yeah.
Well, now that we're saying this, I can tell you why some people would want it. If someone is still using an older device, even if they're not using like an old iPhone as a phone anymore, they might have apps that they really like using that work on the really old version of iOS on their device. Mm-hmm. And if it's something that's actually still useful to them, losing it would kind of suck. But at the same time, these are people that are in a very small minority at this point.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think, what is it, like 90% of people are on the latest version of the operating system?
Oh, it's usually like 80 to 90%, right?
Yeah, so it's usually very, very high. But I think you're right. I think there are a handful of people that are like that, but it's got to be rare. And I think the people who are like that are probably more collector types, maybe, who are holding onto these devices. If there's a game they know that they want to play or an app they know they want to use, they're probably already going to keep it installed anyway. But again, like you said, it's such a niche.
There's iMazing too for those kind of people, because you could actually back up your games to it. And there was a whole thing with the M1 Max where you could put non-standard, non-allowed iOS apps on your Mac using iOS, because you could pull the IPA out and stuff like that. But it wasn't foolproof, right? Because wasn't it Epic when they pulled Fortnite? Even if you had the IPA and put it back in your phone, it didn't open. Like it stopped it from opening too. So Apple could block it if they really want to block it, even if you can still get it.
Those days I backed up all those IPA files. So let's move on to the next story here. Apple stores get a new diagnostic tool for iPhones with unexpected restart issues. Apple stores and Apple authorized service providers have a new tool in their arsenal to determine if a customer's iPhone is unexpectedly restarting. When a customer with an iPhone 11 or newer indicates that the device has been unexpectedly restarting, the stores and the service providers can now run a system stability diagnostic tool, which evaluates the device's analytics on logs to determine if multiple unexpected restarts have taken place over the previous 14 days. If they do expect, if it does determine that it had taken place, they'll advise technicians to proceed with a hardware repair. So there is a new support document about this very thing from Apple itself publicly, but well, it's good to see that Apple's adding some more tools, and even better, the fact that authorized service providers will have this tool as well, because it was always, all those years, if you didn't have to go to Apple, you could have gone to someplace else that's an authorized service provider. Holden, what do you think? You obviously worked at Apple at some point, and this is something that's that is good that they've added.
Yeah, I totally agree. There were definitely many points where someone come in and be like, "Oh my god, my phone's just turning off on me," but it's random and it's very you can't you just have to hope it happens, or hope is a weird word to use there, but you would want to see it happen. And sometimes it would just be the springboard crashing and you'd have the spinning little circle loading icon thing, and that's just software. There's nothing to do with the hardware, but you can't know that unless, like in this case, now you can run that tool and find out. Usually we would just like run a software test and be like, oh, there's some tons of software issues here. All these different services have been crashing a lot. This is probably a software issue. And it was usually a good way of figuring it out, but it obviously wasn't going to point to the hardware at all, which is good about this tool.
Yeah. So definitely same thing like the battery test. I went through and wanted to I was helping out my sister-in-law with her phone. Her battery just keeps draining, but she's got the iPhone SE, the second gen. So it's not old, still under Apple care, but it's only down there deteriorated to 88%. So unless it's at 80%, they're going to push back and make you pay for a battery if you don't do it. So you got to go in there and plead your case, because that's, I said, yep, sorry, you're going to have to take this in because it's your phone. I don't want to have it. Then you don't have your phone. Yeah. So
battery stuff is so often the software. It's like seriously, like 9 out of 10 times it was the software.
Something might be. That's probably the next thing I'd probably suggest in that case. Warren, what do you think?
Yeah, I mean, like what Holden just said. I mean, before this, Apple always said, and I worked at an Apple.
That's right.
I worked in an Apple store too, and took phones in. And 100 times out of 100 times, you tell them to wipe and reload, and then
they cringe.
Wipe and they'll cringe. But then if you give the first thing Apple does or we do is we'll wipe it and we'll test it on a fresh OS to see if it's software. So I mean, there's probably very few times where it's an actual hardware issue causing a rebooting. But I thought there were some weird things too, like when when the FaceTime camera was actually broken or something was physically broken, it would do some kind of weird thing like that. Where when reboot. And then there was also that one with the the camera. You weren't able to do something with the camera because there was a hardware issue. So they're weird.
There was like with the slowing down of the iPhone thing, like that was actually to prevent the shutdowns from happening.
The shutdowns, right? Yeah. But then there were some kind of people with I remember I think it was a 12 or 11, where all of a sudden there was if one of the sensors on the phone actually went, something weird happened with the camera, and like the two didn't connect at all. But you went online, and that's Apple's like, oh, well, this sensor broken. That's why I can't take a picture or something like that. Yeah. And so it's weird things happen with hardware. So having tools would definitely be a good thing to tell you more. Yeah. And I know they have the tool now where they could send it out to you. If you call Apple, they'll send out a diagnostic to your phone.
To the phone, right? They did that.
It starts doing the thing.
That was the battery for me.
They have that. Yeah. So they have a couple things, but more tools, more good.
Yeah. What do you think, Jeff?
I'm actually really happy to see
you look like you're about to cry.
Oh,
I am.
I am actually.
And it's not just allergies. So I have multiple stories that I could share about how I went through every troubleshooting thing you can possibly imagine with an iPhone to track down where the problem was, and had been able to eliminate the possibility of it being a software related issue. Take the iPhone into the Apple store, and the Genius Bar is like, oh, it's software. You have to wipe and reformat. And I'm like, dude, I did that an hour ago, and that's why I'm here.
Exactly.
Well, no, that's software. So we're going to have to do that before we can try anything else. And it's like,
of course.
You understand you're adding a week worth of heartache and headache to a process that I've already taken care of for you. I need to fix the damn phone. And now they can just plug it in and be like, oh, yeah, he's right.
Yeah.
And also like for like environmental reasons, but also I'm sure cost reasons, and not just Apple, any company doesn't want to just replace devices willy-nilly.
Well, of course.
So this also just makes complete sense from that standpoint.
No, of course. So next story here, I thought this was cool, and it's not necessarily an iPhone or an iPad. It's actually on a Mac, but this you could revisit Apple's first store in 3D with this awesome new Mac app. It's the Apple Store enthusiast and creative extraordinaire Michael Stiebler. Today he announced the launch of the Apple Store Time Machine, a new interactive Mac app that lets you travel back in time and reveal 4 iconic Apple stores on their grand opening days. One of them was Fifth Avenue. I believe one was in Cupertino, Apple's Tyson Corner in Virginia. There was like 4 different stores. So I played with this a little bit. I don't know if you guys had taken a look at this at all yet, but I know, Warren, I think you made a comment that it takes up space, but I thought it was kind of fun just to kind of navigate and look at, oh my God, look at those old Macs. And
somebody else made the space comment, but I
thought it was you. I'm sorry. But go ahead. What do you think, Warren?
Jim Ray, I think, said it.
That's right.
No, I mean, it's the kind of thing where it's fun. You look at it, and then you get rid of it because
that's what I did.
Or something. Yeah. So, but I mean, cute, sure.
Did you check this? Did you check this out, Jeff?
I did, and it was fun to look at like the bookshelf.
Yeah, those old books. Yeah,
and be like, oh my God, I remember
those dummies books.
One of Jeff Carlson's books was on the shelf, and seeing stuff that my friends wrote, and those titles are sitting there, and then the software from the people that we know is on the boxes, and
that's fun.
It's cool.
I mean, I wanted to go upstairs on the Fifth Avenue stores, though, that glass stairway, you could only go halfway. You couldn't go back up all the way.
I didn't even try that.
Yeah. So did you try this, Warren? Did you try this, Holden?
No, I didn't actually, but I'm definitely going to try it afterwards because I didn't go to the first store, but I went to Willow Bend in Texas. I think it was the 3rd store, I think.
Yeah.
And it's I believe Apple stores have changed a lot since then. Box software also.
Tremendous.
Top of the head, guys. How many stores do you think you've been to? Apple stores?
Oh, it's got to be at least 10, 15 maybe.
I'm probably around 30.
Yeah.
I'm guessing 15 for me.
Yeah. I lived internationally for a while.
I don't know. I mean, I've been to everyone in Colorado. I've been to several in California.
I've been to everyone in Chicago.
Las Vegas, Washington, D.C.
Yeah, Vegas. Two stores in Vegas.
Oh, right. Yeah, so I've been to 2 in Vegas.
Oh, actually 3. I was at all 3. There's a third one.
Well, there's one in Caesars. There's one in the Fashion Mall. Where's the other one?
Summerlin.
Yeah, but that's outside Vegas.
No, that's still Vegas. It's not on the Strip, but it's still Vegas.
Yeah,
that's where my friends live. So it's right.
I've been
Red Rock Canyon.
The best one, the coolest one I've ever been to was the one in the Paris, the Louvre. So weird.
Yeah.
I really want to go to that one. That one.
It was just strange.
That would be pretty cool
because it's just like in a basement of the Louvre, and it's like it doesn't belong there at all. But it's really kind of cool.
Well, walking into what should be just a train station and seeing an Apple store.
Yeah,
that's kind of.
Yeah, I went to the Grand Central in New York.
The Grand Central.
Mm-hmm.
I've been there
and I went to
I went there on opening day. I went to opening day.
It was really weird to going up those stairs, and you're like, wow, all up at the top there.
That was one.
Yeah, I really want to go to the North Michigan Avenue store. I have not been to that one
because it wasn't open after you moved. Yeah.
I moved out.
Warren was just there.
Is that the one with the cool slope?
The macro.
And it's on the river, right? It's right along the riverfront.
Yeah,
it's the one that they had to change the design of the top because the snow kept building on top, and it wasn't draining. So they had
it was
just like a flat top.
Yeah, it looks like a MacBook. It's got a shape of a MacBook.
My first experience with that one was being at a conference in a hotel on the other side of the river, and my window looked down straight across onto the roof of that. Yeah. And we were so busy at the conference that I wasn't able to duck out and run over to the store just to be in it.
That's the best store.
I got a few pictures in there. And real fast, the architectural boat tour. At the end of the tour,
they mentioned
almost like the guide is like, oh, and I guess we have to mention the Apple store on the left with the top looks like an Apple computer. But she did say one thing that was kind of cool, how you could look through it to the other side from the river, and you could see the park, which was important to somebody. So cool stuff.
Yeah. So very cool. Last story here, Amazon Drive. And I don't know anybody was even using Amazon Drive, honestly.
I didn't even know it was a thing.
I didn't either.
Idea.
It's shutting down at the end of 2023. Amazon Photos will live on for storage of your images and videos. I said bad news for the presumably few people out there who relied on Amazon Drive for storing their important files in the cloud. Amazon is shutting down the service. Plus, on the plus side, you'll be able to get over a year to decide where the heck you're going to move all those files, and it won't be supported by the end of 2023. But move your files over, move it over to the photos if you got photos on there. I did look on there, and actually I did have stuff on there, nothing important, but I will get things off of there and just public service announcement. You do have a year and a half yet to take care of this, so. Based on your guys' reactions, you don't even know about this, or you never used it, right?
I have actually.
Actually, I used Amazon Drive quite a bit for a while.
Yeah.
But the problem I had at the time was, even though it was easy to use, it didn't integrate well with anything else that I was using.
Yeah.
Like the way Dropbox is just so transparent, and so I weaned myself off Amazon Drive for the most part a while ago.
Right.
But yeah, I had stuff that I needed to go ahead and pull off of that. And as I was moving it from Amazon Drive to Dropbox, I was thinking, oh, this is great. I'm moving this from Amazon Drive into Dropbox, away from an Amazon service, into something that's hosted on Amazon Web Services. Mm-hmm. So is it just moving the pointers, or is it physically moving the files?
No, Dropbox could go F themselves after they did they're the ones with the free tier. They're free and
they limit how many devices you can have.
Yeah, then it was a mass exodus of anybody using Dropbox for free because
you can only use like 2 or 3 devices, I think now.
Yeah, or something that was stupid like that.
Now, it's a mass exodus when everyone leaves the cathedral at the same time.
Only at mass when it's at mass.
Exactly. Yeah.
So, goodbye, Amazon Drive. We didn't know you. So that's news for this week. Let's move on to topics, and we always talk about beta iOS 16 beta 4 is continuing here. Warren, have you being our kingpin of beta, living on the edge, as we all know, have you noticed anything different on any of your devices this week?
Yeah, I would say this is not a good beta cycle for most of them. Things revert back mostly on the Mac OS. If you have the Ventura beta on Mac OS, every time you reboot your computer, FaceTime opens and it makes the sound of one of the alert sounds, like that you're getting a message every time you reboot something, or sometimes if you move back to the screen, it does that. And it's kind of funny because for some reason my dog decided months ago that was going to be her alert to bark when you get that message alert, like she's ready to smell. So now every time I go onto my computer, it makes that noise and she barks. So there's that. But as far as the iOS part of it, it's still pretty good.
On iPad, have you been doing much on the iPad?
Yeah, I put it on there, but I have a mini, so it doesn't have Stage Manager on it, so I can't do much with it anyways.
Oh, that's right, because it's not a Pro. It's not a M1.
Yeah. Well, it's the Mini 6. It's the newest Mini.
Right.
But it's, I have it on there. After doing all the cool customizations with my, the phone, I'm learning a lot of things with the wallpaper options now they can get with the phone, where it does. It's not live wallpaper, but it's not like the watch where it switches, but it's getting there. And you could do things. I'm really looking at my iPad, why didn't they do this on the iPad? It's just stupidest thing that you can't have the same kind of widgets on the iPad. You can't have the same kind of lock screen customizations. And it's I can't see any reason why they wouldn't do that. Right. And it's kind of frustrating.
Yeah, absolutely. Hold on, are you running anything on beta? I don't think you know.
Yes, I have beta 4 on my phone, and then I have Ventura on my Mac.
Okay. And
yes, I'm all decked out. And I haven't had too many problems. I've actually had a pretty good experience. The last beta 3, all of my shortcuts just stopped working. I have about 50 shortcuts in there. So like I have a lot running. So I get a lot of notifications being like, hey, that shortcut didn't work. Hey, that shortcut didn't work. And it got really annoying, but now it's working. So I'm happy. But other than that, like it's been really solid. I know we're not doing a Mac thing here, but Stage Manager is incredible. Stage Manager is how I will use my Mac going forward.
Yeah.
Period. It's just too convenient.
Oh, I agree with you on that.
I go back and forth on it. I'm not sure. I'm not sold yet.
Yeah.
Are you using it on iPad at all?
No, because I got the mini iPad.
You got to have an M1.
But I've used it on I have a 14-inch.
Yeah, all my beta iPads are not M1 either, so I haven't been able to try it. I don't put them
all your beta iPads.
My beta, first gen and fifth gen, both were, I got them.
Well, don't you have an M? You have an M1.
I have an M1 11
because I do the same.
You won't put the beta on there to test the Stage Manager?
No. Nope, it's
really?
It's my
production machine.
It's production. My production device. I stay on the standard device, standard version. I'm not like you, Warren. I don't live on the edge. That's why I have multiple devices. That's where I can play.
For an iPad, it takes literally an hour to revert it back if you really had to. But yes.
I don't have that hour to do it. But that's okay. But Jeff, have you noticed anything on the iPad? Because one thing I wanted to bring up was the fact that they made some pretty good changes to the Files app. There's some Files app updates. Specifically to save, open, and transfer
Files app.
Yeah, I have a link in the show notes on an article about that from a 9 to 5 Apple Insider that they talked about this. I hadn't a chance to play with it either, but the save to files function has been improved. There's a new model window, and anytime you save something to the Files app, it's got a new whole UI that appears with the options to select the saved location, add a tag, and rename the file. So it's becoming more and more of a finder, honestly.
I thought you meant there was new
changes,
Files app stuff in the latest beta.
This is in the current beta now, from what I was reading here. In iPad OS.
But it's been in the previous developer betas for iOS.
Yeah, I think this 16, I think we had talked about this since the last three versions.
I just wanted to make sure I wasn't missing new features that I needed to go dig into.
General improvements to the Files app since.
Yeah, I mean it's got some good things talking about a lot of the menu actions. The file extensions you can rename file extensions, which is this is becoming a really full out Files app, like almost like a Finder. On Mac.
When you can just call it Finder.
Yeah, might as well.
Imagine being able to rename a program. It's like revolutionary. It's like almost like who would have thought to do that in a Files app, right?
I know, it's great.
Why would you ever want to change a file name?
Yeah.
No, the Files app in iPad OS 16 is finally in my opinion, a usable feature. Prior to that, it was the thing that you use to hook apps into a common place for finding stuff.
Yeah.
But now it actually has a usable value to me.
It does, with all those new added features. So, other thing I'll report is this is a rumor, but I think it's worthwhile mentioning it that the iPad OS 16 is more than likely going to be delayed until the new iPads ship, which could be October. Which they have. This is nothing new. I think Apple's done this before. With I know the iPad OS and iOS would ship within a month after each other. But they said in the rumor that they are looking that they want to make sure that they have an ambiguous effort to overhaul the iPad's multitasking abilities, which is Stage Manager, basically.
Yeah.
But
are they saying they're going to try to make it work on different models, or are they trying?
No mention of that, because we had that.
So that's what the speculation is. Because
that could be
people are like, you could delay this till December for all I care if you get this working on my iPad, whatever.
Yeah.
So
because people have,
what they're saying.
Not everybody has M1 iPads.
No, a lot of people, most people don't have an M1 iPad, but again, how many people need?
I just think this is funny. Is like before this feature came out, there was all this pressure to put on Apple of like, take advantage of the M1. Please take advantage of the M1.
Yeah.
Why have you taken advantage of the
And
M1
now-
yet? And then they take advantage of the M1 and it's like, why isn't it on the other iPads?
No. Stop for a
that
second.
is
No,
pretty
no,
awesome.
no.
Yeah.
People are like, take advantage of this M1 and like, in their mind, they're thinking, graphic processing, games,
Yeah.
multitasking. That's the advantage you're taking, that you can take a device with
According
a
to them-
processor that
According to
has
them,
like
it
it's
can't
supposedly
run on a 2018 iPad, but it can run on a 2017 Mac.
my Chromebook can multitask and has a processor from like 2003. So let's not praise Apple so much for
No, I don't think it's praising more
M1
so
for multitasking.
I mean,
I think they over-engineered multitasking on the iPad is what they did,
Yeah.
and I think that's the problem. I think
Yeah.
they should have gone back to a simpler way to multitask on the iPad without needing an M1 processor to do that.
Yeah. No, I'm kind of just more criticizing. Like, I feel like in the tech community, we're all so into tech that we want the iPad to be more than I think it will ever be. And there's all this talk of like iPad being a more pro device and running Final
Yeah.
Cut. And I'm like, I just don't think that's ever going to happen.
No.
We talk about a lot of time, and people get stubborn and annoyed about it when you say, why do you want this to be more of a computer? And it's like when you add a keyboard to it and a trackpad, to an iPad, now you have a MacBook Air that runs iOS, and it's like, but I wanted, so people make up in their heads, I want to carry one device and blah, 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 and things like that. But it's because for tax and because we want anything that has the power to do something to be able to do everything.
right.
And
Absolutely.
for 98% of the world, they just want to watch Netflix on the thing. So, I mean, Yeah.
Well, it's like with like Final Cut in particular, it's like, would you want to run that on a 12.9-inch iPad without a keyboard? Because it'd have to work
Well, I
touchscreen
do
only.
LumaFusion for all of my video editing
on an
without a
iPad.
keyboard,
Yeah.
on a
Yeah.
12.9-inch iPad Pro.
keyboard.
No,
Really?
Pencil.
yeah, Apple Pencil,
Yeah.
but not the
Okay.
keyboard.
So the pencil at least gives you some precision you wouldn't have with the finger. But I'm very curious
Yes.
how that works for you.
Well, actually, without the,
It works so
graphic
well
editing,
that I won't do any video editing on my Mac anymore.
Wow. Okay. Wow. Interesting.
I could almost see it though for that. But when you start going into any kind of business application, then it fall anything where you need to type more than a few dots and tabs, then you're going to want a keyboard. But for video editing and photo editing, I kind of see that you don't need a keyboard because
Yeah, it comes down to the use case, and I do have the old keyboard folio case for my iPad Pro, and I type on that thing all the time. But it comes down to use case. There's some things that I just find to be more efficient for me on the iPad versus the Mac. I don't want them to be the same device.
Yeah, I had the butterfly keyboard, the Magic keyboard for the iPad Pro 12.9 before I sold it, and the thing was, great. Dave, you have the same one, right?
For the 11-inch, I still have it. Yep.
Yeah, I got the 12.9, and beautiful level. But when I stuck it in the bag, it was heavier than my MacBook, and it didn't,
Yeah. All right.
Yeah.
Well,
I think they make better companion devices.
there's that debate can continue on. I think
well,
I think it's an evolving device. I mean, I think people want it to be a tablet, want it to be their full-time device. I've done plenty of presentations on that topic, and I think that it's still something we have to continue to think about. I agree. It's not something. I don't think it's there 100% yet. I couldn't live without my Mac, and I think all of us here couldn't. So,
or you could get yourself a Lenovo tablet.
oh God. Moving on.
Is there anything at Best Buy you haven't purchased?
The shelves.
Yeah. So I wanted to bring up talk about this topic. Streaming services, video streaming services. There's so many of them out there. I did a presentation at Macstock about this a couple weeks ago, and I wanted to share with the podcast listeners here that how do you decide what the heck you want? You know, and what's important to you? And there's just so many services out there. I'm kind of going to mix it up here from the way I talked about it here a little bit. But I think the first place that I want to talk about is the free services. There are quite a bit of notable free services that are out there, and they actually have some interesting content. And the first one I would probably mention is Pluto TV. You know, Pluto TV has got a lot of great old shows, old classic comedy. You can watch Johnny Carson. You can watch Three's Company. There's actually a Love Boat channel that's on on Pluto TV. Yes, and but they have news. They have. I mean, it's now granted it's not your cable service, but there's a lot of great content on there, and for the fact of it being free, is a great thing. I think it's a good service to have to play with. I mean, you don't have to pay for it, so why not? Of course, you experience commercials. You're going to get ads with that, so that's where they're making their money. But as far as free streaming services, I think that one is on the top list of if you look at the free services. IMDb TV was what this service was, but then Amazon bought it. Now they call it Free V. I'm not a big fan of that name. Kind of silly if you ask me. And they've got a lot of original content and old shows. And I know All in the Family is one of the is on there and exclusively. For those of you who are fans of Judge Judy, she actually signed an exclusive contract after leaving CBS after 25 years of being on there. So she signed up with them. So I think there'll be a second season coming soon with that. So that's a great service too. Tubi is another one. Now Tubi does have not only the good free stuff, and of course all these services have a lot of movie choices. They're not going to be as exciting as the pay services we'll talk about in a minute here, but Tubi does have a lot of great content as well. I mean, it's very similar to what Pluto TV has, but you also have movies, and then you also have live TV with them as well. So Freevee does not have live TV, or at least I haven't seen it. Crackle, which is another service, which I believe is owned by Sony, is got some good content on there. A lot of different content. I know Jerry Seinfeld's show was on there at one point. Comedians in Cars were drinking coffee, which he hasn't done in quite a few years. That was a really fun show to watch, but that's over on Amazon, Netflix now. So that was that, but they have a lot of good content on there. Zumo, which is not probably one of the more not as popular. You probably don't know too much about that. Similar to Pluto TV, probably not as much content, but another place to check things out. This one I want to talk about a little bit because I know Jeff and I both have Plex service. I think you do too, Warren. Plex is a big thing right now, and the cool thing about Plex is it's kind of a multitude of services. You can have your own Plex server and host all of your movies and content and all that stuff on your own, creating a Plex server on your own, as well as they have movies that you can watch there as part of their streaming service, as well as some live TV. Their live TV is kind of garbage, honestly. There's just compared to all these other services, at least these have some relatively fun things to watch. But yeah, there's some very bizarre channels on Plex. But Jeff, you being a Plex user for a long time, don't you think this is a service that really kind of stands out of all the free services that are available?
Yeah, I'm a big Plex fan because it was the first platform that I felt gave us a really viable alternative to the media storage and management solutions provided by like Apple and Microsoft, and it's great. And when they started adding in the streaming channels, okay, well that's interesting. And
add a bonus, I guess.
Yeah, it's mostly garbage.
It is,
but they're getting stuff there. And so hopefully it's just baby steps, and they had to get the door open and get some stuff in and show that they can do it. And maybe they'll start getting more content showing up. But still having a tool that we can use to manage content the way we want, and has a nice interface.
Yeah.
I'm a big Plex fan.
Do either you guys have Plex servers? Have you set up that? I think I
have friends who have them, but I don't really use it too much.
Yeah.
I got mine. I keep moving it on because my Windows computers keep breaking. So I that's the one
Moving
good thing
on.
about Plex.
Well, Warren, do like I did and install Plex on a Raspberry Pi.
Yeah, but then I would have to buy one, and I have all these other computers just sitting
$30.
there, so I haven't
Done.
Huh?
$30. Done.
The Raspberry Pi is the one thing I haven't played with too much, but yeah,
Mine's on a Synology, so
yeah, it's not that hard to move around the Plex server.
Yeah.
But anyways, yeah. All I could say about that is FreeV sounds like something you get when you sleep with the wrong person. And,
God.
I see what you did there.
Oh,
Yeah,
you're
and
good.
then,
You're good.
And then the other one is what's Dave? What's the Roku channel? Because I got
Roku channel. I didn't mention that. I'll put that on there. I actually was I kind of got hooked here. I shouldn't admit that I was watching it, but I used to like the show Ugly Betty.
So no, that's a good show, but I gotta see this Weird Al movie. And how do you have to pay for it? Or
No, it's
how do I
free.
get to this?
You just
So I can get Weird Al for free when it comes out?
The Roku channel.
Okay.
You can watch it on your Mac, or you have to have a Roku device. They don't have an app on iOS that you can watch on it. So buy a $29 Roku if you want to.
Yeah, we have two.
I've got all of them too. So but
you don't have to subscribe. It just comes up with the.
No, it's included. It's absolutely free. There's tons of that. I added that to the show notes too, because there's just tons of TV shows and movies and that's what's saying. There's so much content to consume that's free that if you might be entertained just enough with that. I mean, the only unfortunate part is the local TV stuff, which I'll get into in a minute here. But I wanted to talk a little bit about some of the paid services. Now, top ones I put in here: Paramount Plus. You have to have it for Star Trek. Come on, I mean, just there's no way around it. For most of us, I know some of you won't, but
it's a necessary service for all of us except for Warren.
Yeah.
But that's only because
I like Star Wars.
He's on some sort of
I'm on Team Star Wars. Star Trek just bores the crap out of me, no matter or at least which ones I've watched.
Yeah. Okay.
It's the only movie I've ever walked out of in my life is Star Trek 2. And that's
The Wrath of Khan.
You walked out on the Wrath of Khan.
Oh my God.
Yeah, it might have been the first one.
The motion picture, yeah, I can probably see that.
Yeah, it could have been the first one I walked out on, but then I just didn't see any of the others for a while. The one with the whale was cute, and then a few things here and there. But Star Wars, man, I watched Obi-Wan this week. I mean, you can't make that stuff up. It's just well, you can.
Ironically, yes, you can.
but it's a
yeah.
We could have the whole Star Wars and Star Trek debate.
Yeah, let's let me keep going here. Hulu is a great service too. I'm really hooked on Hulu now, and I just finished watching the season finale of The Orville, and which Jeff got me hooked on. I hadn't watched it all this time, and I mentioned it on previous shows that I binged watch all 3 seasons. Oh, the third season I watched as I went. It seems like the last few weeks I was staying up until 11 p.m. my time to watch the latest episode, because that's when it would drop. So already in my head watched it, and Orville's a great show, but they have a lot of other great shows on there too, and they do have a live TV piece of it as well, because some people may be interested in subscribing to that. I'll mention that in just a minute here. Apple TV Plus, of course, we talk about that a ton of times. Ted Lasso and so many other great shows on there, and for $4.99 a month, you can't beat it. And we'll see, we're definitely going to see how it evolves with Apple. We talked about it a bunch of times. We know that's going to be a service to keep your eyes on, with all the other content they're getting here. So Disney Plus, of course, Star Wars is on there, Marvel, and a lot of other stuff is on there. So another service on there. Then you add all these up, it does add up to a little bit of money here. So if you have to decide which ones are most important to you, or sometimes what people do is you might have a show you like and it comes out, and then you can cancel for a while and then come back, and some people do that. So Holden, do you get in any of these services at all?
I actually literally just got Hulu because the Americans moved from Amazon to Hulu, and I was in the middle of watching it, and that show's fantastic. Yeah. If you guys haven't seen it,
okay.
At least where I am so far in it, it's very good. So so I just like you were saying, I picked up Hulu just for the Americans, and I'll probably drop it right after that.
Yeah.
But Apple TV is my standard, just because I already have Apple One.
Right. We all
and
do.
I am so impressed with the content that they put out. It's so good.
Yeah. So much stuff.
And then but yeah, I usually just do it like that. I just get these services just for a show, like a particular show. I got HBO Max right now because of The Rehearsal. I don't know if you know Nathan Fielder, but he's hilarious. He has a new show on HBO.
Yeah. Oh yeah, HBO Max is another one. HBO Max and Discovery. Well, Discovery they merged. Warner Brothers and Discovery merged. So it looks like by next year you're going to have a HBO Discovery Plus combo that's going to be merging together. That's going to be interesting to see where that goes. But
with basically no good content.
Yeah, because all the original stuff's probably going to disappear. That's what's going to end up happening. So, but then a quick debate on the decision: do you have to have cable or satellite or streaming live TV? Do you really need it? Well, it gets tricky sometimes. I've got Xfinity's my cable provider. You could get the bare minimum if you want to, but some people just, you have family members who have a challenge of using a streaming service like Hulu does live TV, YouTube TV does live TV. Then you have your cable providers, then you have satellite providers. But sometimes people are just so against it because of the technology. My wife she's on the fence. I've been trying to talk her into it because I've got 3 Apple TVs here that we could easily just use that, especially the fact that, and we talked about this before, Jeff, with Xfinity having the stream app that's now available on the Apple TV. You can easily watch that content. But some people like the X1 platform that Xfinity provides, and you can integrate all of these services into that service as well as being able to change the channels. But I think Xfinity has a little ways to go with their stream app because people like the channel surf, and it's not very friendly doing that. You have to kind of toggle around to get to it, changing channels.
To be fair,
streaming
even
services,
on their cable boxes,
right?
Channel surfing was a garbage experience.
Yeah, it's getting worse.
At least they're offering a consistent user experience.
Garbage, right?
To our wives' point, Dave, channel surfing on 20 streaming services is near damn impossible.
Well, yeah, streaming services, it's impossible.
That's why our wives won't do it, because they want to say, I want to switch from, HBO to Discovery or whatever. Right. And, I used to be able to hit the back button, and now you're saying I have to get out of this app and go into this app, and it wants me to sign in, things like that. So, so my wife did say to me that she is going to try streaming in her Chicago apartment or condo.
Great.
So we talked about it because she really wants just the HGTV, and she found one that does that. And I forget which one it was, one of the streaming services do it. So a little tip, and for Dave too, because you have the lake house. If you have at least one house and you pay for Verizon cable or Xfinity.
We're paying Xfinity in both places, yeah.
Right, we are too. But if you pay in just one, all the local stations, apps, ABC, NBC, CBS, Fox, will let you log in to watch content with the cable provider that you would have from the other house. Right. So you could actually get local channels easily.
Oh yeah, but you have other family members at our second house. It's just you and your wife. You got many family members in my experience that won't go over very well.
Right. No, but like if you have a house that, you only go to like a lake house or a beach house, not all the time, and you don't want to get the cable. But the problem always comes back to the same damn thing is when you call Verizon and say, I want to drop the cable package and keep internet. They're like, well, you'll only be saving 28 cents a month if you do that. And because you're doing this and that, and that's how they get you. And so it's.
So that in a nutshell is really streaming services. You guys have any other final thoughts? I think we gave a pretty quick overview for the short 10 or 15 minute segment that was, and I could go on for a lot longer because I did a deeper dive. I spent 45 minutes on that, so alone. So
we didn't even talk about Netflix at all.
Yeah, I didn't even mention Netflix. I should have, but yeah, Netflix I did mention.
Or Amazon Prime.
Amazon Prime's the other one, right? I'll put those in the show notes.
They all have their shows.
Stranger Things for Netflix, and
Amazon Prime has The Boys, which is awesome.
The Boys is so good. I'm obsessed with that show.
Netflix Umbrella Academy was awesome, and we're getting new Handmaids coming up in Hulu. So,
that's the thing.
That's why we got Hulu.
How do you decide? We all subscribed. I think we share some of these services. If I look at my list here, I won't mention who, but we all share the services between family members, and that's what's happening. And Netflix wants to push against that. Amazon Prime, the same thing. So, but no, there's just so many services to subscribe to. If you got family members, maybe that'd be a good economical way of getting into all these services. And something that's important to you, just pick the service that really stands out for you. It's really hard because there's so much good stuff on all these different services.
Dave, my brain just sometimes shuts off thinking about all the services, and I end up just watching TikTok because I can't process. It's like there's all this good stuff on these streaming services. I don't know what to watch.
Yeah.
I'm just gonna watch this woman put a ball in between her whatever, and that's going to be fun. So that's what I'm doing on TikTok.
And
Is that what they have on
show.
TikTok?
That's this week's show, and then let's move on.
Every other video is like a woman dancing and putting balls in things, and they're
All right.
going, and then
Moving on.
The kids facing.
I think you have a different TikTok than I do.
Yeah, I agree.
It might be Grinder, but I thought it was.
Oh my God! All right,
That wouldn't be on Grindr.
No,
That wouldn't be on Grindr.
I'm moving on here. So I wanted.
There are a lot of balls on Grinder. I'm just saying.
Oh my God, you're killing me. Moving on here, I wanted to talk a little bit about networking. I did buy a new Eero, the Pro 6E. I'm super stoked. I got it, and I want to give my review about it and how it really interfaces with iOS, because that's where you are dependent on managing it. And I know a few of us here have it, so we'll talk about that in just a second. There was an article here I saved this news story as part of this talk because this is involving Wi-Fi. Intel is going to introduce Wi-Fi 7 in 2024, and Apple does plan an imminent move to Wi-Fi 6E. So we got the next successor to the 802.11ax, which will bring even faster processing speeds of 5.8 gigabits. It's more stable than the 6 bandwidth, and so you got that to contend with. I guess Intel's new standard is going to be 802.11be. I don't know where they come up with these letters with some of this stuff, but it's so
the same place they came up with the term Wi-Fi.
Yeah, exactly.
Which actually doesn't mean anything.
Yeah. So
It doesn't stand for anything?
No.
Wireless.
Oh, interesting. I didn't know that. I just figured it was like wireless frequency or something like that.
No, they just letter codes.
It's just Wi-Fi. It was a marketing thing that sounded cool.
Yeah,
and
it
that
does.
was it.
It works.
Yeah.
So
there you go. The letters at the end can be just as meaningless.
Yeah. So
they are. I think.
So Apple was going to put the iPhone 13 lineup on the Wi-Fi 6E, and they had talked about it on this last year, but so they had yet to release any devices with it. So it is kind of expect to change this year. So I'll be ready to go with the iPhone 14 when that comes out. So you got that happening with the standards. And again, we could spend probably a half hour just talking about standards here, and we're going to take too much deep into that. So, but it'll be interesting to see where the 6E goes with the iPhone and the iPad, and improving upon the speeds even more. So, going to that, I wanted to talk about Eero, and the Eero is now owned by Amazon. They came out with these products a number of years ago, and they were their own standalone company. So they've got, and they are still selling a lot of the older devices too. So the first one that stands out is the Pro 6E, much bigger little devices each one of them can be either a router or an extension. It is mesh network, so it does work really well. Very easy to set up. I mean, for those who are listening who want to get a very easy thing, I've been using Netgear for years. All the last 3 routers I had were all Netgear, but when people ask what the mesh system is going to give you much more stronger signal around your house. So I was going to go with just one unit, but I decided forget it. Now I need to get 2. So I have one sitting at my feet here in my office, and then I have one downstairs in my kitchen. And I tell you what, I already started testing as far as its connectivity goes. It's insane. It's so good. I'm able to go outside and sit out on my patio, and I have full 4 bars on my iPhone or iPad. I walked a little further to the back of my garage, and I was getting signal out there, and that device sitting out in the kitchen. So I was a little leery of the fact that I was so used to having a Netgear device that you can get to the web interface, and us as being techie guys and IT professionals, that we want to be able to tinker, be able to have some more granular control. But I've kind of decided that I don't mind it as much because I'm watching this app, and you still have a lot of great control of your network from the app itself. I've got it all laid out now. I'm looking at all devices here now. I have a full inventory, very easy, just going through my phone here, and here's every single device.
Inventory list is just so great,
and you can organize them. So I have it organized by classifications of computer and personal. I've got it for entertainment. I've got it turned for home use, so like my doorbell and my Ecobee thermostat, and then it also shows whatever had been connected before. So if it says previously was recently online, it's there as well. So performance is just insane. The 6E really makes a difference. I mean, when I'm not taking full advantage of the 6E because these are AX on my MacBook and any other devices. I've got 2 switches that are on here plugged into the second port, so I got plenty of other extra ports for wired network. So I'm happy. I think it works, and the nice thing I said is just the fact of the matter is you can install the app on your iPhone and your iPad and manage your network very easily. You can change the IP schemes. You can do port forwarding. You can do DNS changes. Like I changed the DNS because I like to point to usually Google or 1.1.1.1. You get those two choices for your DNS servers because Xfinity Comcast has the worst DNS server in the world. So you have all those choices too. So I think it's well worth it. And right now they have 50% off. I mean, that's what really attracted me. So $299 for two devices, and you got a happy network here. So I know, Jeff, you got an Eero too, and I believe Warren you do as well. So Jeff, how has it been with your Eero, and which ones do you have?
I just had to bring up the page, the Eero site, to figure out. Actually, I think I'm still running an Eero Pro.
The Pro, the 5 or the 6?
Which would be the 5 at this point.
Yeah, which is fine. It's still giving you good service.
Oh yeah, and the only reason that I haven't moved up to the 6E Pro is because I don't have over gigabit Ethernet,
right? Which I do
yet. So the benefit that I would see with the other Wi-Fi devices that I have on my network doesn't happen with the new Eero until I get bumped up to 1.2 gigabit.
Right.
And then it'll be time to replace, but I'll replace just the one base station, the primary, because the beacons that I have at either end of my place, they work with any model.
Right.
So
I could buy other ones too and extend it. I mean,
yeah,
I could use
my second Eero set.
Yeah, I could use the Netgear ones I have, but I want to keep it clean. I like having these. It's nice because I've always had the big routers. I got the nice clean Eero sitting under my desk here, and then on the kitchen it's white, so blends in. The wife doesn't get unhappy when she sees it there. It's plugged in. We're good. So it's good. So I'm very pleased with this, and I think I recommend it highly to anybody that's looking in the market for setting up a whole mesh system that's giving you the best.
I am very happy with Eero.
So Holden, but before I get to Warren, Holden, what are you been running? Have you been running just standard routers, or?
I have the Google Mesh,
okay.
And I want to get rid of it. Just because I want to get rid of Google everything.
Yeah.
I don't want any more Google. So I was looking at the Eero. So this is actually all good to hear.
Yeah.
While you guys were talking, I went to their site because there's the link here in the note.
Yeah.
And apologies if it's already said, but they have a really good deal going right now. Where if you can get a 2-pack for $500 or a 3-pack for $419. So get a 3-pack for less than the 2-pack.
So you get 2-pack is $299, and I think the 3-pack is $419.
Maybe it was a mistake on their website. On their website, it said $499 for the 2-pack, and then $419.
Oh, because I just bought it. Yeah, so you go to 2-pack.
Eero has a bunch of models that are, you got to be like, some of them look.
Unless it's changed since I bought it. Shoot, they must have just.
It says 1-pack is normally $299. the 2-pack is normally $499.
Yeah, that changed.
And the 3-pack is usually $699. But they have a huge discount on the 3-pack for $419, which is
well then that makes more sense. But
it's $80 less.
They were selling this 2-pack for $299 not even 2 days ago. so something changed.
Yeah, you got a good deal there.
Yeah, so that was $299 for a 2-pack. Maybe something changed. They did have the flash up that was 50% off. Maybe they have the discounts. Keep checking back to the site, it's well worth it. It supports over 100 plus devices, which I hope I'm not going to come anywhere near that, but I probably have about at least 30 here. But I think it's great.
Well, depending what you add in as smart home devices,
That's true.
A lot of those people don't think about,
right?
And they can add up quickly.
Yeah. So Warren, you got the 6? Do you have the 6E like me, or
I don't have an Eero.
Oh, I thought you did. I thought you said you did. I'm sorry.
No. So I
so you have the Orbi.
I installed Eeros for people, but I've had the Orbi 5 and now the Orbi 6. And
right, you posted that new one that was like $1,500.
So Orbi has a 6E and it's $1,500 is how much it is. Did you see that?
Yeah, it's insanity.
How many?
It's for three satellites, but it's it's their Pro. I mean, it says it does everything, but I still can't imagine paying that much for that.
No.
Even if it did, I can't even think what it would do that would warrant that. Because again, with my 2-year-old or 1-year-old Orbi, I'm getting Wi-Fi 700 around the house and I spent $400 on that. So, I mean, what am I going to get an extra 100 meg or 200 for that? That doesn't make sense. So,
yeah.
But yeah, the Orbis are good. They're not the most. They're too technical for their own good because their software doesn't really work all the time with their stuff. And like even now, the iOS apps have broke with the. That's one of the things that broke with the betas because I think it broke before because when you do iOS of things, including a router, and iOS has app tracking turned off or hide my IP turned off, it starts to not see your stuff. So if you ever have problems seeing things on your network from an iOS device, go into the Wi-Fi settings and turn off the hide my IP and the tracking on your Wi-Fi network temporarily to see it. And it still doesn't always work.
I did find the $299. That's right. I bought it from a retailer, the local retailer here.
Oh, okay.
Apt Electronics.
Gotcha, yeah.
But I'm sure Best Buy sells it probably for $299 as well. So you can get a 2-pack if you didn't think you needed a 4-pack, a 3-pack.
It's interesting. If all you need is a 1-pack of that, it's
$179. Yeah.
Unless you buy it directly from Amazon, and then it's the regular full price of $299.
I know
for one.
That's crazy.
So you should just get the 2-pack.
Get 2-pack at a retailer. I'm sure Best Buy is selling it.
Also, it feels outside of buying one to extend your current network. It seems weird to buy one of these as your initial starter device at just one. Yeah,
well, that's why I gave in. I was going to buy the one, and then I actually did buy the one, and I returned it right away and didn't even open it. And just got the 2 from this retailer. I don't know if you remember. This is a Chicago retailer, Apt Electronics. So Best Buy has a 6E 3-pack for $419. Yeah, everybody does.
3-pack. Yeah.
Here's the thing: is that I don't know if I would go for a 6E. I probably would just go for Wi-Fi 6.
Yeah, which would save you money.
Save me money. My MacBook Pro, which I just got Wi-Fi 6, right? It's not 6E. The 14-inch Pros. I'm not going to buy a new Mac for at least 4 years.
Yeah.
So I'm going to have that. And then my PlayStation 5 is the only thing I really download that has really, really big files. And that's not going to be updated for like 7 years from now. So yeah, I don't know if I should get a 6 router. I should wait and get a 7 router when those come out.
The Apple devices are actually slow to adopt to these standards in all of them. We were waiting for Wi-Fi 6 and the Windows computers had it and like a while before Mac and Apple did. So they're slower to adopt to these standards, I think.
Yeah. I mean, you could pick up those 6 Pluses so much cheaper. You can get a 2-pack for $111. So it is the AX 1800 dual band. So if you wanted to something a little less, the 6 and the 6 Plus, I think the Plus is a little more.
I would get that then.
So here's the reason why I haven't upgraded yet, because there's no value in me doing that. And honestly, when I do upgrade, it won't be because of the faster Wi-Fi speeds that I will get. It'll just be because I need something that lets me actually take advantage of a broadband connection that's more than 1 gigabit.
Right. That's right there. Mm-hmm.
To be honest, most of the mesh systems nowadays are all pretty good. I mean, I've installed a whole bunch of different ones, the Google ones and Eero and Orbeez for a lot of people. And compared to what they're used to, at least, even like you could get a whole system for under $200 from some Amazon company. And I've done that, and it works. They're pretty good. So, because mesh in itself is, and you could get into the whole thing with dual band and tri-band and things like that. But
beamforming.
Yeah.
The point is, if you're not using mesh because of reasons and cost, even a cheap mesh system that you find on Amazon will be 100 times better than whatever you have trying to extend the network in your house.
Yeah, I agree. So check it out. I think it was a good topic, and like I said, works really well with your iOS device because you got the app and it does a very good. I'm sold on it now. That it's easy to manage right from your iPhone. So. And it looks like we've brought this show to a close for this week. So let's go ahead and wrap things up. That's a wrap for this week. Please send your comments, questions, and suggestions to our email address, which is feedback@intouchwithios.com. You can follow us on Twitter @intouchwithios. Support the show by buying me a coffee at intouchwithios.com/coffee. We would really appreciate it. You also can become a Patreon of the show. If you go to patreon.com/intouchwithios, we have 2 tiers available to support the show. We would really appreciate it. Make sure you like, share, and subscribe so you are notified when we are live streaming, which is on our YouTube channel, which is at youtube.com/intouchwithios. You also can watch the live streams, so we leave those up there after the fact. And we also stream on Thursday nights at 8 p.m. Eastern, 5 p.m. Pacific at youtube.com/intouchwithios. And you're also going to listen to the show on YouTube. We also have In Touch with iOS magazine on Flipboard. Go and visit that, and you can find all the topics that we discussed. They're all flipped into that magazine. The link is in the show notes. You can subscribe to the show in your favorite podcatcher, including Pocket Casts. I also want to mention Good Pods. Good Pods, if anybody's not familiar with that, is an iOS only app right now, and we were just number 6 in the indie tech news category on their platform, which was pretty awesome. So check out.
That is awesome. Go you.
Yeah, go us. And so check that out as well. Good Pods is in the iOS App Store, and you can go to the website goodpods.com. So check that out. There's another form of listening to all kinds of podcasts, and we're out there too. But better yet, just go ahead and check our website out, which is at intouchwithios.com, where all the links to all the ways to listen to us are there. I am Dave Ginsburg, and you can find me on Twitter at DaveG65. Holden DePardo, thank you so much for being here. It's always a great pleasure to have you on the show. And where can people find you?
Thank you for having me again. I'm just online at Holden DePardo on Twitter, but I'm not doing that too often. Just not doing social media a whole lot. So I'm kind of nowhere right now.
No podcast
I'm here.
Huh? Okay, great.
Yeah, no podcast right now. No.
All right. We'll take care. I'll make sure that's I had the wrong information. I'll make sure I update that for that.
That's no big deal.
And Warren Sklar, thank you for being here as well. Where can people find you?
Still in the basement in quarantine, I think, until this passes again, maybe. And here and sometimes with Chuck. Thanks for good seeing. Jeff, we are not the same.
I'll be able to sleep better at night now that we have that resolved.
We've got that resolved. Jeff Gamet, as always, thanks for being here. I really appreciate it. And where can people find you?
As always, I'm so happy that I get to be here. You can find me on Twitter and Instagram, jgamet on both. YouTube.com/jgamet for occasional videos with you and Warren on Tuesdays, with Chuck Joyner on Mac Voices Live. Thursdays on the Big Show, Fridays on the Mac Show, most Thursday evenings with you, and then the Context Machine with Brian Chaffin. So I'm getting around.
Appreciate that. One last comment. I missed this. It was in the chat room on the YouTube live stream. Craig says, sounds like In Touch with iOS is in touch. Where can't you go? So thank you. Appreciate that, Craig.
There you go.
Yep. So appreciate that. And we appreciate you listening. We wouldn't be here if you were not listening. And I hope you enjoy the show. We enjoy doing it. And we'll talk again soon.